Greetings. Welcome to the AI Files podcast. If you're looking to stay up to date on the AI, this is the podcast for you. I'm Shadab Hussain. I'm the director of AI at Microsoft, and I'm your co-host.
Hello, everybody. Jamie Basilico, as you know already. I'm the other co-host here for the AI Files. My day job is a data and AI technical specialist and architect. And as a reminder, please note this is not an official Microsoft channel, so the views and opinions expressed by myself and Shadab are our own and do not represent the views of Microsoft. So with that, let me show you some of the things that came out of the I/O conference. These are those announcements that Google made revolving around Gemini, revolving around VO, revolving around the imaging model, revolving around some of these other tools, such as what they call Flow, Whisk. There was also updates to Notebook LM. I mean, again, there's so many different things that were announced at Google I/O. We're not covering all of those in this, single episode, but we're giving you, I'll call it like a sprinkle of those. So let me show you directly. As I share this, I'm going to start here. This is a plug. Yes, everyone knows we work for Microsoft. That doesn't mean that we solely just use Microsoft tools. It's very important to know and understand what is out there in the industry as a whole. So what I thought was very interesting, and this is being done with all of the different parties, is that they're providing subscriptions, right? I belong to, or I'm a subscriber of the ChatGPT Plus, which gives you, certain extra features. Google has their similar, so they break it down. Yeah, you could sign up and get some of these things for free, but they also have this pro plan. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that to do what I'm about to show you, you need some of these pro features. What's great when they, had their I/O conference, they announced 1 month for free of the Google AI Pro. I would highly recommend any one of you that are listening now who do not have a Gemini account, sign up for free, use it for a month and cancel it if you want to. I'm pretty impressed from what I've seen and what I'm about to show you. If you're a student, I believe Google is still running their promo that you get it for a year. So the Google I/O Pro, you have to, have a student account or an education account, but you could sign up for that. So again, plenty of choices. But what Google AI Pro gives you is, yes, you get the Gemini app. I'm going to start out and show you that, but you get the latest models, being able to get more access to those models and be able to do more. Gives you access to Flow, which is that filmmaking piece using VO3. Ability to use Whisk, which is the image-to-video creation. This uses VO2, not the VO3 model. Notebook LM. It gives you the ability for Gemini inside of their productivity tools, things like Gmail, Docs, videos, and more. Also the ability to have Gemini in Chrome, so directly into that. Obviously, I'm using Edge right now, so you don't see that in here. Also gives you more storage. And then, obviously for their higher price, they're cutting it to Ultra is 125. But anyway, I just wanted to set that as a stage because that's what I'm using for this. Now, the Gemini app, here's the Gemini app. Now, let me kind of explain a couple of things. When O3 came out, actually, it might even been with the O1 model in one of our previous episodes. When DeepSeek came out, DeepSeek R1, I constantly use the same prompt, which is how to terraform Mars. So my prompt here, it's same one sentence, create a detailed plan for terraforming Mars, address critical challenges such as radiation, protection, atmosphere, sustainable resource management, include estimated timelines. So this is the same prompt. I will tell you up front, I'm blown away with the level of detail that Gemini with 2.5 Pro has provided as far as the output. Now you can see the output here. So the detail is pretty good. Now, the things that are different that I've seen from the first iteration, yeah, they tell you the number of sources. You can see the number of sources here. It's a lot, which is, good, because the more sources that you have, the better it is. They also tell you the sources that they read but didn't use in the report, and then it's thinking, so it runs through like their thought process. So that's no different than others. Here's where this sets it apart with this new um, Gemini chat environment. I can create different components directly within Gemini off of the output. So I can create web pages, I can create infographics, I can create quizzes, I can create an audio. So if you've used Notebook LM, within Notebook LM, I can create audio. It's really a podcast. This is, I would assuming they're basically using the same technology with text to audio, but it's directly within this. So if I say generate that, and I did that here, off of that same piece, I can start to create, here's the infographic. It created it within uh, HTML, and I have to go back and look at it. But here's the creation of the audio overview, and it built the audio for me, and I could step through this. So this is powerful in the sense that I have all these things at my fingertip based upon the content. Now, what you also see here is they included VO3 inside of the ability right within Gemini. So since it already has this context of the quote unquote terraforming, I could tell it, if I give it another prompt, I'm not going to do it now because it'll take a little while, but I could tell it to generate a video using their latest model and using the same context of what it just generated from this deep research. So again, to me, this is where they start to tie in all these different tools that make it super easy for you as a marketer, a developer, wanting to create some quick images and or videos directly in here. So this to me takes this chat experience to the next level because they have all these tools baked in. And you also notice they've integrated their productivity tools directly into this chat experience. So I could do an export to docs, which I've already done. So I've taken their or taken the output from the terraforming and created a Google Docs tool. Now, while that's kind of cool, right? Is it earth shattering? I would say no, but let me show you what they also included. Again, you have to be at this pro level. Gemini is now included inside of, I'm going to say included, it's integrated inside of the Google Docs and all of their other productivity tools. So I could do the things like, hey, what's in here? Refine this, rephrase it, summarize this. To me, this is not earth shattering because, again, Microsoft, we've had this with Copilot for a while, but now that I could do this directly inside of, Google Docs or their productivity tools, coupled with Gemini, again, that gives more power to the user. And if you think about where I started with this, started with chat, created, something off of deep research, exported this out the doc, brought this into docs, now still working it with Gemini to refine it. The power of what is now capable, if you're, a Google shop, is just elevates it to the next level. Now, all right, that was the starting from the chat and being able to do those things, the audio, infographics, tying it back into docs. That's all well and good. Now, remember what we said about Flow. So Flow allows you sort of like this movie director tools. I could start to create videos off of that. Now, I started from scratch. And if you notice here, I'd like to have a spokesperson talking about the fictitious company called Mars for Us to explain the need for terraforming Mars, address critical challenges. If I open this up, you can see the full text. It wasn't a lot. So this created a video. Now, the VO2 does not have the ability to automatically create audio. VO3 does, however. So just by the way, before I jump to the VO3, the quality or the actors here, again, I didn't give it anything other than just the one sentence prompt, right? So now what I did is I changed it to use the experimental audio, which is the VO3. So you have choices of what model to use inside of Flow. So this is a single um, a single a single scene, by the way. And the reason why I say Flow is really like a movie director is I could add additional scenes. So if I was really doing something full blown, uh, let's say if I was a real company that might want to put different scenes together or make something a little bit longer, you could do that by adding these different scenes inside of Flow, leveraging the VO3 model, which has audio. Now, let me play this. Hopefully, this comes out well enough. Let me bump up my the audio, and I might have forgotten to put audio directly streaming into this, but this is an 8-second clip, nothing more than that same prompt. It created the person and the audio. I'm going to play this.
Terraforming Mars is essential for our future, but it comes with critical challenges like radiation protection.
So obviously you can tell I had a little hiccup in the beginning of whatever she was saying. It wasn't English in my opinion. But the rest of it after it caught
It
up.
was Martian.
Say again?
I said it was Martian, Jimmy.
Oh, Martian. It could have been, right? But from that one simple prompt, what it was able to build, and outside of that first 1 second of Martian language, if you put this in front of somebody, I don't think they'd be able to tell the difference that this was all AI generated. So again, the capabilities of what I'm seeing here in VO3 with automatically being able to create audio, pretty spectacular. Let me take you to another one, Whisk. So this is using their image generation, but also going image to video. So again, you could tell I'm still on this like Martian terraforming piece. So I started out with a single image, and I grabbed this literally off of the internet of two people standing in Mars after it's been terraformed. But what you're able to do with Whisk is give it some information, and it will generate new images off of that. So basically, this is where it's using its image models, right? So I did not create this image. This created it based upon this automatic prompt. And yes, you can have automatic prompting where it'll look at it and be like, all right, well, I'm going to create another image off of that. Obviously, you could give it your own. So this is like 2 images that it created off of its initial prompt. Now, why am I going through this and why am I showing you this? Well, you could then take a image and convert that image into a video. So what I told it basically when I'm looking at this video piece is I said, have those 2 people walk along the path in Mars and then point to a spaceship. And if you remember my last clip, it was Mars for Us as the fictitious company. So what Whisk is able to do, and again, it's using their image models behind the scenes, is it's able to put text into images to create a video. So this is the video that this thing created directly. Again, pretty blown away. They're walking. I told them to also point at the spaceship. Again, remember where this started from. It started from a single image, and it then animated that image based off of a text prompt. So again, mind blowing of what is capable here. And where does this, what you could do, in my opinion, is pretty much endless, even at the tools that we have now. I'm kind of just speechless, and you can hear it as I try to describe this. Now, again, that's not all. The Notebook LM has been, Notebook LM, in my opinion, one of the best tools that came out of 2024, and they keep on evolving it. Again, here's where I took the terraforming. So I started out with that same Google Doc that was generated through Gemini, and then I did an export and I exported it as a PDF, and then I took that PDF and brought it into Notebook LM, and then had Notebook LM do its normal things like create summaries, also had it do the quote unquote podcast.
Sources outlining how it might work, but our mission here is really to pull out the key insights on the
all right, so I'm assuming everyone's probably played with Notebook LM at this point to create the podcast, but again, the things that they've added in here is interactive mode, so you can now like interact with the podcasters. So yeah, I didn't go down that path of actually doing it here, but just pointing those out, sharing publicly, so I could share this now with other people directly within these tools. Again, so these are things that I could send out. So they've made some advancements or modifications, new features inside of Notebook LM. If that wasn't it, here's another one. Again, a lot of things around the consumer piece. So obviously I have a Gmail account. We're looking at flights to Seattle to take a cruise. So I've got Google actually looking at price changes. Now, if you didn't notice already, I mentioned that Gemini is now included within the productivity tools, and Gmail is one of them. So again, here's the Gemini, and I could interact with this, summarize the email, what actions, what can I do? So here's the things where they're incorporating Gemini across their different suite of tools and productivity side. Last but not least, this is they have something called Google One, so I could see all these different tools. I could jump into Google AI directly from Google One, and it's showing you all the different things that you can do. So try it out.
Incredible. I would say, Jamie, the great, excellent, actually, demonstration what you have done here. Mind blowing. I totally agree with you. I think, and this whole tying in of different features, taking input from one to as a output of one to as an input to another feature. I think that's amazing, right? I mean, because I don't need to cut, copy, paste, and the context is preserved. This really is groundbreaking.
Yeah,
Google has officially caught up, I would say.
I look at it this way. I mean, Google, they're a big company. They have a lot of assets. They've got a large set of infrastructure. They've got a lot of tools. It's sort of like this behemoth that just woke up in the last 6 months, and it's like, okay, we're going to do AI, and we're going to tie it into everything. And I think that's the real power. And it's what you just mentioned. The ability to tie all these things together really provides a platform for productivity.
Yep, absolutely. I think if you see, like, Google, of course, is a bit unique company in the sense that they are deeply into the consumer space, but they're also in the corporate space. But let's keep the corporate aside, right? Corporate, I would say, primary competition goes against the Amazon and the Microsoft. But in the consumer space, I think it's really the OpenAI and the Meta, right? That they will be running into. So it would be interesting to see how Meta and OpenAI will respond to a lot of these things. Google certainly has a leg up, given that they control the distribution. They can certainly make that easily available. It would be good to see, and no wonder. I mean, and they need to do all of this thing because, as Apple reported, there was a dip in the typical conventional search, Google search on the iOS devices. So I think these features will hopefully, essentially, it's a shifting pattern. AI is going to shift the pattern of the usage, but I think this is mind blowing. This is amazing, and I think, as you said, the students can get actually this subscription. I will make sure that my daughters they actually try this out. They would love it.
Yeah, so like I said, lots of things with Google Announce.io. We kind of just scratched the surface on at least the things that were standouts to us. In the show notes, you could read the full disclosures. There were a lot of them, over 100, I believe, at the Google I/O conference. So a lot more to dive into.